Okay, so that was not quite what I was expecting of the Penguin. And I'm gonna say season 1, episode 1. Um, I don't know if Warner Brothers is just doing the one off series or if they intend it to be an ongoing series. But anyway, so I knew that there was going to be a turf war in the sense that Oswald was going to take on the ruling families, the crime families of Gotham, and that he was going to, well, in his words at the end to Victor, take over the city. I was not expecting how this came about. So, it starts off where the Batman movie ended. And what does it say about Gotham? That on the local news they are talking about the coronation of the new head of the Falcone crime family. Because, when someone dies, there might be a mention of, okay, this is going to be the new boss. But, yeah, usually you don't hear a major piece about someone who's going to be taking over the family and despite, alcohol issues, which leads me to how Alberto lasted on being the new boss. He was worried about whether he could live up to his father's legacy, which, a lot of kids feel that way when their parents are powerful people, whether they can live up to that, whether it be in politics or probably gang related or entertainment, athletics. If your parent is famous for a certain thing, of course you're going to question whether you can live up to those standards, especially if you're continuing on in that business. So he at first catches Oz breaking into a safe and taking what looks like dirt on someone. I didn't catch who those pictures were of. And he claims that, oh, no, this is for you. Which, okay, what? So I already figured, okay, he's just playing this kid, this drunk, and that he actually, that this was actually him turning on the Falcones. Well, it turns out that maybe not. I mean, not necessarily completely. So Alberto and him are talking, and, Alberto is being such a cunt. Telling him about how, how his father treated him so nice, even though he knew that you were stealing from him because he figured it wasn't enough to concern himself about. And that, how he favored him, how he loved him, and blah, 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 blah. But then, when Oz tries to be empathetic and tell a story from his childhood, we see that this man is an absolute, at the best, a sociopath. At the best. because he takes from the story not a "can I be as good as that" moment, but he just says, "Oh, that's what you want to do," and he starts insulting him left, right, and center. Now, I live in a concealed carry state, and I don't go out, so I don't meet people, so I'm not in this situation. But if I were in a situation where I was talking to someone in any situation, and of course I'd be concerned of an argument ensuing if it's someone I don't know, because you never know if they're packing. In this case, it's pretty fucking obvious that he's packing. I mean, come on. Think about what his job is in the Falcone crime family. Think about what it is he's supposed to be doing. He's not, I mean, and you're going to just stand there and insult him? I mean, what do you think is going to happen? So, do I feel bad for Alberto getting rubbed out? No. Do I think that Oz really needs anger management? Yes. Yes, I do. But again, how much insults can you take of someone who's supposed to be working for you? I'm not talking about someone who's your enemy. I mean, that I would get. But someone who's supposed to be working for you, you're supposed to be on the same side, and you're going to insult him, even if that was the takeaway that he wanted to give to Alberto, that he wants to just be a small-time gangster. Even if that were the case, what the hell are you doing? First, you're whining whether you can be as great as your father, who, turned the other cheek when Oz did this or did that or whatever. And your takeaway is to beat him down and make him feel this small? Even if Oz wasn't a lunatic with a gun, even if he didn't need anger management classes, I don't think he would have survived long as the head of the family, because what the hell, dude? Do you really think that your father became as great of a head of a crime family as he was by insulting to their faces his henchmen? And to that degree? No, he didn't. So he gets shot full of bullets. And he was talking about this new drug he wants to put on the market, which Oz was like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm going to market it as my idea." After he realized he really screwed up by shooting him. So he goes to his car, and this is where we meet Victor. Because he's one of these gang of teenagers who's trying to steal a car. Steal Oz's car. And of course, Oz doesn't take too kindly and shoots at them, and all of them run off except for Victor, who is like a deer in the headlights. And I'm taking that he has a stutter. That it wasn't just that he was peeing his pants scared. He also has a stutter. And I guess Oz took pity on him. I don't know if his limp, and we did see his foot, and oh boy, is it mangled. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a birth defect, and that he just grew up with his foot not properly growing out. So he took pity on this kid who also has a disability, in his case, stuttering. So he told him to calm down. He, had him help him put the body in the car. And he's like, yeah, you get to drive since you wanted this car so bad. Now, obviously, at this point, the kid is also pissing your pants scared still because, well, of course he is. I mean, here's this gangster who he doesn't know what's going to happen after he helps him. And even when it's sunup and Oz seems to be almost nice to the kid. I mean, he had his moments. He tells him to turn around. Immediately the kid knows what's going to happen. Now, whether that was Oz's intent or he honestly just wanted to watch the sunrise, because he did sit down to watch the sunrise. But at the same time, can you blame the kid for freaking out that he's supposed to turn his back on this guy? No, you cannot. So he tells him, I have ambition, let me help you. And it was more of I just want to live through the night, as opposed to any desire to actually be a part of this potential empire. So that's how he ends up with Vic. And by the end, Vic is calm. He still has his stutter, of course. But at the same time, he calls him Oz. Oz calls him Vic. So they have this friendly rapport, even though Oz is still his boss, but it's more of a friendly rapport. And I just loved Oz. You really need to get a sense of humor. He's still not sure whether you're going to turn around and shoot him in the face. Of course he's not going to have a sense of humor with you until he's calm enough and he knows that this is a deal, you guys work together, it's fine. So, as I said, he didn't actually intend to shoot Falcone dead. Of course, if you're doing that, why are you aiming for his chest? I mean, shoot one of his arms. That way he's still alive, but he also knows that he, went too far. As opposed to shooting him dead. But, like I said, anger management. So, it's like, okay, so this show is going to turn into him trying to avoid consequences for shooting the head of the Falcone crime family. Well, not exactly. That's not the point of the show either. So, he's called in by a couple of I guess heads of his department, for lack of a better term. Because he is the one who is part of the drug trade. He's one of the people who brings in the drops. So they're telling him that, yeah, we don't need you anymore. This isn't a money-making operation for us. We want to move our operation somewhere else where it's more profitable. So you're out. Of course, Oz takes it as well as you would expect, which is not at all. And Sophia comes out, and she questions Oz, and it's pretty obvious to both the viewer and to Oz that she knows damn well that he killed her brother. Now, how she knows this, at this point we do not know, but we find out later that she's like, yeah, you drive a plum-colored car. It's pretty obvious, people are going to talk. People are going to remember this. And this kid is telling me this. Oh, are you going to tell me that you believe this kid over me? And she basically, after shooting the kid, because she's like, oh, yeah, you're right. You probably are telling the truth. Bang, bang. Now, I'm not completely convinced he was getting out of there alive anyway. But she basically gave a look what you made me do after Oz almost escaped from being chased. It was actually pretty clever to hide in the trunk of his own car. Vic apparently isn't picking up his phone. So I'm like, well, maybe Vic looked at his phone, did a GPS search for Oz, and he's going to save the day. And in a way he did, just not as how I expected it. Now I read that the actor Colin Farrell was wearing a penis prosthetic, so Oz would look anatomically correct. But I was paying attention because of that knowledge, and I didn't see anything. So, okay, what was the point? But anyway, apparently, according to Sophia, Arkham strips down the inmates every morning and tortures them. Which, that checks out for Arkham. So, she's basically doing that. And she's torturing him. Well, the guys are torturing him. And so she knows that he's lying about not seeing her brother. And then suddenly we see a car crash. Well, actually we just hear the car's safety alarm going off. So everybody goes out, and Sophia, it looked like the block that was keeping the gas pedal down was a bomb. So I thought, okay, she's going to open the trunk and it's going to go boomy. No, it was just seeing her seeing the body of her brother, and of course she's less than thrilled. She's freaking out. And on the trunk it said payback. Now, earlier Oz went to see Sal Maroni. He wants to move his operation to the Maronis. And Sal basically says, fuck off and die, because you turned on us already. We don't trust you, so no deal. And Oz gives him his ring back, and he's like, how do you have this? He doesn't actually say that he killed. I was actually expecting him to say that he killed the new head of the Falcone crime family. Because, I mean, how more credible can you be for the Maronis to say that, oh, by the way, I killed your rival's new head, who, it wasn't much of a kill, because the man had maybe at most one working brain cell. He was a complete and utter moron. But anyway, I expected that. So this is basically them bringing the Maronis back into play, or however he phrased it. And basically getting the Falcones and the Maronis to fight each other. And while they're fighting, Oz and Victor are going to take over Gotham. And he initially was going to put his tail between his legs and run away until the heat died down, because he knew that Sophia knew that he killed her brother. But his mother basically talked some sense into him and's like, you're being a pussy, stand up for yourself, and take over Gotham. So it just, I want to say that I can't believe how many people are treating being a crime boss as like a perfectly viable job. Perfectly viable career path. But when like Oz said, the world was built not for the poor, but for the rich. And, it's true. It's unfortunate, but true. If you're poor, and the way things are going in the U.S., it's just getting worse. It's hard for you to pull yourself up and get ahead without possibly doing some shady shit. Now, not everybody is in that position, but like I said, it's getting harder and harder for the poor to break out of that. So the episode ends with Oz mentioning to Vic how they're going to take over Gotham because, he put Maroni's crime family back on the map by making it seem like the Maronis were behind Alberto's death, taking the heat off of Oz. Now, the question is, at the moment, Sophia probably is thinking it's the Maronis who did this. But the thing about that is, she was willing to believe this kid, this punk kid, that it was Oz who was seen with Alberto. But at what point is she going to meet up with the Maronis? They're going to be fighting each other. They're going to be killing each other. And at what point are they going to realize that this was something that was created by Oz? I mean, Sophia even said that I always knew, people didn't think highly of you, but I always knew you were so much more. So, or maybe, since Sophia is not the head of the crime family right now, I don't know who's supposed to be next in line. But because she was in Arkham, I'm going to guess it's not her. That alcohol problems are one thing, but having been put in an insane asylum is a different thing. Just my guess. Or sexism. Or both. Or a combination of both. So, I don't know who the new head is going to be, but it's possible that Sophia still realizes that it's Oz. That he's not pulling the wool over her eyes. But maybe whomever is going to emerge from this power vacuum is convinced it's Maroni, and nobody will be able to tell them any different. So yeah, that's how it ends, and it ends with Vic and Oz at Buddy's, and Vic getting his first taste of a soda, I guess, a mixed flavored soda. And yeah, that's basically how it ends. And yeah, it's a very good show. I was very riveted, and even though it's not exactly what I expected, I mean, we eventually got to the turf war part, but how we got there was not what I expected. The way the trailers showed Alberto, I thought he was going to play a bigger role. Not that he was going to be shot dead in the first 5 minutes or whatever it was. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this happens because we know that the Penguin becomes um the big boss of Gotham. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Sophia, what happens with Maroni. I mean, he's already in jail, but his crime family is still there. Um so yeah, I'm excited for this show. This was quite the birthday present for me. So yeah, with that, I will see you guys in the next video.